Hi, hello everyone. In this video, I'd like to show you how to write a script. Specifically, we're going to write a script which is going to query the table that I have here right now in front of you. This is the incident table. So what we are going to do is to check the date. So if the date, the open date of an incident, if it is in the past and if it is in the like more than 7 weeks comparing to the current time, I would like to change the state of the particular incident. Okay, so if you have an incident more than 7 days, if it is open, I want them change the state. So I'm not going to close the the incidents, but instead I'm going to just change to, for if it is new, I'm going to put it in progress, and if it is in progress, I'm going to do um, the reverse. So I'm going to put it back into new. So just the script, just to learn how to write the script, how to query the tables, how to use different conditions like if condition, while conditions, while loop, sorry, and how to do these things in ServiceNow in order to little bit write a server-side script and attain a goal to a certain result. Okay, the first thing what you have to do, what you have to know is to you can write the script in back. If you type back, and you should have what we call background script. So if you click here, you have here the part where you can write the script and then test it. If it's good or not, you can check it while you're writing the script. The best advice I could give is to write your script on a piece of paper and analyze it if you're making a mistake or this kind of thing. That's what I'm doing, but here I cannot do it and I cannot show you as well. So, and I'm going to, as well, I prepared a documentation which is kind of supporting documentation for me, which is this one. So I have all the lines of code here, so all the lines, and each lines of the code I have the explanation. So I went a little bit fast. So I have everything here. In the end, I have the entire code that we're gonna write. Okay, this is the entire code how you should look like, which is going to allow us to change the state of the incident depending if the date, if the date is, if it is open more than 7 days. Okay, so we are, first thing what we are going to do is to write this line of the code. So what this line exactly is going to do, so we have different things here. We have a class called glide record, and we have an object here, right? And we have some elements in the parameters, and we have a keyword new. So we have to really give attention to that. So I presume at this point you have a pretty much basic understanding of what is a class, what is an object, what is how to say, what is a while loop, what is if condition. If you have done this thing in any other language, if you are going to write it in JavaScript, this is my first one that I have created. So I did not write the script, I did not copy paste the script from the training that we have in the developer website. This is the one, and I had a problem and how to solve that problem. Okay, so the first thing, if you are creating an object, the object's name is rec, and this is like, you can choose the name you want, so it's not something specific. The object name is something it should make sense for you, that's it. And we are using here a keyword called new. This keyword is highly important because this one is allowing you to create the object, because the entire syntax of the after coming the new is like you're going to put the class, which is our glide record class, which is going to both together create the object. So our class plus the new keyword is going to create our object. So, and after that, our object, uh, so we are going to work on a table, right? So we want that object have some information related to a certain table, so that's why we have to put the table name into the parameters, so we can work with the object, right, to access different information related to that table. Okay, so it will probably, I wrote here contains now all the records. Maybe it's not containing all the records, maybe can access information on all the records available on that specific table. So let's write this first line of the code. I hope you got the understanding how this thing works. So let's go here, I'm going here, I put var, this is the variable, and rec equal to new glide record, so our class name. So we have to make sure that the first letter and second letter are in capital, and then you open close curly brackets, you put 2 quotation mark, and then you put incident, you close it. Our first line of code is perfect, is written. It is going to send some information to our firstly created object, which is called rec. The second thing what we have to do, so we are working on the table, so I'm going to open another page in order to show you the incident table. So I'm going to type incident in the Explorer here. It's not giving me what I want, so I'm going to click on all. So this is the table where we are going to work. So what I want, we have all the information here. So the code we have written at this point, so it has every information, but we have to do how to say filter. We do not want to have all the records. We want to work only on the active ones. So how do we know which one is active, which one is not active? So if you are a beginner, you have a field here called active. So you can, if you don't see that field, you can click on this settings button, and we have all the available fields name or column names, and you can just choose the one you want, and then you can drag on the right side. So that's what I did. You look for the active one and you put it here. So if I put it here, and I'm going to get back to that thing, so let me check for active. Oh, so it's here, boom, I put it here, I'm gonna put it, and it's gonna show me that field. So here, and the active field have two values, false and true. So it's boolean value. So only the ones who has the true values are related to the records which are open and not closed, or not cancelled, or not resolved. So that's the thing. So we have either new, either in progress, or on hold, something like this, which means like it's active, someone is working on it, it's new, it's in progress. This is the information that you have to get if you think when the record is active. Okay, if you say the record when the record is active. Okay, that's the thing. So we want first right now the second line of the code only take the information that we need. So we don't need all the records which has the active value false. So we have to write a query which is going to take that specific information, so all the records which has only true. We have different ways of writing this query. So the first thing, we have to add a query, and then we're going to send the query. Now to add the query, so the first thing is to remember that we have our object. So we use our object rec and then dot, and we put our query. So there are different ways to do the same thing here. We can write add active. This one is the one I'm going to use. It's quite simple. It is going to actually add a query which is saying, hey, record is active field, it should be true. That's the query. We are adding that query. Or alternatively, you can write a different query, not a different query, in a different type. You can put, for example, in double quotation mark, active, shouldn't be capital, active, and you put true. This is another way also to write the same query. So I can show you another type as well. Let me just show you the documentation that I have. So here there are three types of writing. One, the one that I'm going to use, like add active query. The other one is this one, so the field name and the boolean value, which is true. Or this one is called encoded query string. I did not went too much in for how we get this string. I think it's like kind of SQL code. I didn't went so much for, but if you already know to write this one and this one, it's perfect to start. Okay, so let me just go back here and write the simple one, so not to mess up too many things. So I'm gonna put here active. Perfect, that's our second line. Now the third line, because now we are just adding the query, we are not querying, actually we are not executing the query. Now to execute our query, we have to write rec dot query and then open close brackets. I put this semicolons. This is the actual sentence that we have to write in order to query what we have on the code, what we have set on the add query level. So on the code above, what we have here, it will be based on this level. So this one, it will be based on this level. So this is sending the query, but this one is adding the query, but this one contains the information what kind of query we have to send, right? So if you put rec.add query and you put the conditions like we have here, let me show you, like this one is going to be based on this condition to run the query. In fact, so it's based on the condition that we have above, it's going to run the query. Perfect. At this point we have reached at like the record can have different information, but we get rid of all the false active false which has the false value records. We have basically these ones. So I'm gonna make this thing, so it's showing me all the records which is only have the active true, and it's safe for records. We are going to only work on these records, not the other ones. The other ones we do not actually care. So let's move on to our code. So what will be the next actual logical step? It's when it comes to programming, and there are certain things that you have to do before. You have to think like a machine, like sometime, and that comes when you write a lot of codes, and then you know what you have to write first and what you have to write after, this kind of thing, because it's very complicated to explain why we write certain codes in the beginning, because we need them after. That's how is it. That's how the program it works. That's how we can tell to the machine to work. So the first thing here, what I want is to go for one by one, each individual record. Go for one by one and take the date of the record, which is here in the open field. So if I open randomly any record, this one, and I can see the date in the open field, I want to take this date. And then I have to compare this date to the date that I have in the system, which is the date. Today is today is 12, Wednesday is 11 o'clock in Prague. So this is the time, current time, and comparing to this time that I have the open time here. I'm going to compare those time and get the value, which is going to be very useful after for me, because once I compare those dates, and will return a certain amount of days, not a timestamp, but days. We have a certain code which can do that. So if I have 50 days, so I know this record is open more than 50 days. So what the next action will be? So it's setting the value of the state, change the state to that thing. So that's the logic. So first, prior to do that, prior to set the value to that to the state as a new or in progress, first we have to retrieve the value. Okay, so how we are going to do is to first write a while loop. Okay, let me bring you back to the up. So we have done our query. So here we have to write our while loop. I made a mistake. while it shouldn't be in capital, and the rest of the thing is perfect. And here while right dot next double quotation, so not quotation, double brackets, and then you close the while thing, and you have the curly brackets. The code goes inside, and this one is actually telling for each record, go for each record. That's the code. This code is doing. So let's write this code. Let me move back to my up. So here I'm writing the while loop, while up here, and I'm going to write, I forgot actually. Okay, next as this, and so do this. So this is enough, and we are going to open close curly bracket and write our entire code inside. Okay, the first thing is to retrieve the value of the field name open. Let me show you if you cannot imagine. So this is the field open. So when I say field, I have to go for the record. This is the field, and we have the time here. I'm gonna take this time, I'm gonna store it in a object. Okay, so that's the first thing what you have to do. So in order to do that, we have a glide record, which is useful for manipulating record and fields. We have another class which is useful for the time, date time, so which is called glide date time. So I'm going to create a variable as I created before, like for the glide record. This one, it will be called open time, which will make sense for me because it's the open time. And then it's going to be new. So why I'm writing capital sorry, new glide date time. Okay, close it. Right now it's not doing anything. It's just, if I wrote this code, is going to put only the current time, which is this time, into my object variable. I don't want this. What I want is to put the current date that I have, not the current date, the date that I have in individual records. So all these dates, I want to put it, I would like to put it inside. So the way you do it, so we're gonna manipulate on the record level. So we go, or you see the logic, you have to follow the logic. So we are going to the object rec, and we have a good method which is get elements, which is actually get the element of that field, the field gonna tell to me. So what field I'm going to tell him? Open, logically, right? So how do you tell him? You do not tell by mentioning the name of the open that you have here. Even though you click on it, you do not mention this name. Instead, you have to go click right, and then you have show open underscore add. This is the name for the database. We are on the server-side script. Okay, so, and main thing, quotation mark. If you don't do this, it's gonna mess up. At, okay, fine. Now I'm going to just make sure that this thing is happening properly. So probably you are asking the same question to yourself, this is actually going to take the data or not. So the way we do it, we do gs glide system. This is an object for the glide system, which is going to allow us to display certain information that we want actually. Okay, so I want to display open time. I guess here everything is good, so it can work. So this is specific code just to show you the dates which has been retrieved and put in the open time object. So I'm gonna have a list of the date if I run this script. Let's see if this is going to work or not. Not authorized. Yes, it's working. I don't get it. I did not change anything. It's the same code, but it's working. Sometimes it's like this. So you can spend times by spending a lot of hours. That's why it's better to write the code on a piece of paper. So actually you can see now all the dates. So it's working perfectly. The first part of the code. So it's getting all the dates that I need from this entire list of records, which is actually only which has the value for the active only true, all the dates. So let's move on for the next one. So I don't need any more of this thing. Okay, so the next thing is to create another object which is actually going to store the current time. Now it's 11 o'clock, so on. So the current time with the date and time. Okay, so it's going to be right now. Okay, and it's going to be new. The good thing here, you don't need to specify anything in the parameter. All you need to do is to write just, okay, I'm writing wrong, and write just the new glide date time, put into brackets, no other information inside the brackets, close the curly with the semicolon, is going to get the current time. This is the code how it works. As a next step, we have to compare this object, which is open time and right now time, compare those values. Okay, so I have to use more than compare. I'm gonna make a calculation. I'm gonna like make open time minus right now time, or right now time minus open time. How many days I want? How many days in between 2 days? That's the thing I want. So it's not like minus. I have 2 dates in the open time and the right now time, and I want to know what is the not the distance, what is the difference in terms of days. Okay, so in order to do that, we have a specific method and also a specific way of writing the code to get that result. So let's do that, and before doing that, let's view that code. So I'm going here and opening this part. So if we have done all this part, so first, second, third, fourth is done. Now we are in the while loop. So this is so this is just done. So we are here. So this is the actual line which is going to help us to retrieve the value by subtracting 2 different time and putting that value in the object that I named duration. So the var duration is the object, and the glide date time dot method subtract is going to with given objects into the parameters, going to return us the number of days in between those objects. So open time, it should be the logically the start time, and then this should be the end time. For me, the start time is the date in the past, which is the date that we have retrieved from the for each record field. So this is the code that we have to write in order to retrieve some information. In order to do our calculation and subtract. Okay, boom. I'm going here. So let's write that. So it's going to be another variable var duration equal. You can see here I'm not putting the new keyword. I still need to investigate because even if I put the new keyword in front of the glide date time, it still works. So kind of strange. Here I'm gonna put subtract, and I'm gonna give the value of open time, comma, right now. So this code is actually going to return us the number of the days between both two dates. Okay, I can show you that in the script. Okay, so this is now perfect. Let's check if this is working, it's not giving any errors. So that we have to make sure each time. So I'm gonna run, so no errors. Perfect. I'm gonna get back here, and we have to write a code called gs info. It's like testing what's gonna happen, and it's going to be duration dot get display, I'm writing wrong, display value, open curly brackets, I'm gonna close. This is actually just simple code which is actually going to return the value that we have in the duration object. And if you just type gs.info duration, it will not give you the number of days, because here we have a different format. Glide date time is like year, month, hours, seconds, okay? And right now glide time is the same thing, but duration is a subtraction between two different timestamp, and that one is returning the number of the days, hours in this ways. Like it's how to say, it's different from like 2019, something like this. It's a different type of storing the value. So we have this particular code to write in order to display that value properly. So I hope this code is going to work. I tried before. Great. As you can see here, it compared two days, the open and the write time, and it's giving me the number of the days that each record is open. So I have 180, I have even 1099, 1399, I have 284, I have like 1000 days. So this is like, okay, how to say, this should be closed from 10 years before. Okay, I'm just kidding. So we have the result here. We have every part that we need. So our code is going pretty good. So from the beginning to this point, okay, we have retrieved our result. We have in our duration the difference of the time between open and right now. So right now what we have to do is to create another object, which is sorry, let me just bring back to the knowledge base that I have here. It's pretty much different here. What I'm trying to do is to do the same operation that we have done before, but the difference of the time should give me 7 days. Okay, so basically let me just go back here and then show you. So we have done two operations and giving a specific date, 180 days or so on, but I'm gonna do the same thing, but I want as a result 7 days. Why we need 7 days? Because logically what I want to do later, I'm gonna put in like comments, even though it's not comments here. I want to compare duration will be smaller than a variable that I'm going to create, which is, how to say, what I have named here. Let me just, I give a different name. I want 7 days. I give a name like pretty much good name, 7 days. 7 days contains 7 days. Okay, so I want to make sure that the duration, which is 180 days, 100 days, 1000 days, it's more than 7 days. So I will put a if condition. Like I'm not writing the if condition, it should be written properly, but I'm just explaining here where I want to come, what I want to do next, and why I'm doing that thing. So here if, and I'm gonna put duration more than 7 days, it should execute a certain line of codes. So that's where I want to come. So I want to have the 7 days as a value in an object, right? So in order to do that, I'm gonna just make the similar thing, which is like taking two different dates and do the same operation, subtract, and store that value in a variable that I'm going to create. So the first date I'm gonna create is GD1. It's random name, doesn't make any sense. It's glade time, so I just found it in how to say, in the documentation of ServiceNow. So I'm gonna do here glide date time, and I put here a specific format. This should be I should be very careful with that, because you will mess up the code if I wrote it wrongly. So let me go back and then just grab that part of the code. So not here, maybe here. It's gonna let me copy. Oh, perfect, it's letting me copy the entire thing. So great. So I'm going to change here, and I'm gonna put the day here. Perfect. So I'm gonna just copy paste another one here, and I'm gonna name it GD2, and I'm gonna put it 8. So basically this is the start date, this is the end date as per here. And if I run a calculation, like I did a subtract method using, it should give me 7 days. Okay, so I'm gonna just take that thing again and here, and I'm gonna name this one 7 days, and here is going to be my start date, which is very important, GD1, not GD21, GD2. Okay, so this is the thing we have written at this point. I want to make sure at this point if everything's correct, no mistakes with the commas and stuff. So I'm going to just copy this, run it to make sure there is no errors. Perfect. I'm gonna have it like this, and now we are going to do the same thing. I want to show you is actually going to show me 7 days. Okay, let's see that if this thing is happening actually. So I'm making you sure that this thing actually happening. So JS info, and we have 7 days dot get display value open close count. So this one should return the days which I have in the 7 days, right? So as we have done for the duration. So let's run the script. As you can see here, script 7 days, 7 days, 7 days, 7 days, 7 days. So perfect. At this point we are moving properly, so all this code is running in the while loop. So we have this for every record is going to repeat, and I will come back later pretty much with the remark if we can do in a different way or not, if you can help me with that. So I don't need this one. At this point we have done the 80% of our job. Now is time to compare the values of the open time and of the duration, which has the number of days exceeding 1000 days, and then the 7 days, which has the 7 days. We're going to compare those values with the condition, if condition. If you know about if condition, it's very simple. You write like this, and you put duration smaller than let's put bigger, and 7 days. Okay, this is our condition, and you're gonna execute what you have inside the curly brackets. So we are putting a condition here. We are going to test. So if 180 days is more than 7 days, which means the is 180 it's actually more than 7 days or any other dates. So if this condition is returning true, which means the record is open more than 7 days, so you can actually going to manipulate. You can, at that point you are allowed to go and do whatever operation you want on the different field available. We are just like focusing on the state field that I actually don't want, but I can actually work on different field, but just is just to show you how this thing works, because it's gonna make me some kind of errors that I don't want to show, but I think this one is happening because there is a SLA running for incident in the backend, so that's why I have similar error, this kind of error. But in the end, but I can make you sure that it's going to work in the end. So now we have uh, we have to set the value. We have to set the value if this condition is true. So how do you do that? So the first thing is, let me just go back to check so where we are actually. Boom. So we have to do two different things. Either you can create a variable and then do these steps and then update, or you can do in one line everything. So just one line we have all the thing. So in the code that I saw before, there is one variable which is going to just like going to do this operation, and then you have the update. It's like similar to here, like you add the query and then you query, but I decided this time to just do it in one line. So let me explain what we are doing at this point and then write this code. So we have our object, right? So I'm not going to start from here because this value is going to be returned here and then it's going to update. So the first thing we are using the object record, and then the method set values. The set value is going to ask us where you want to set the value. We choose the column state. So the column state has a name which is called state, which is different because other columns can have a different name. Let me show you, because here it looks like simple, but if I open, I don't know, as you saw before, the open field as an underscore, right? Sorry. If I click here, is that it has an underscore add, but state is that state, no underscore, nothing. So when I say state, we are talking about not this one with the capital letter, but we are talking about this one, show state. So this letter. So let's get back to our explanation. Change desktop. Boom, here. So we put state and the value 2. You can say why I'm putting 2 here. That's a question probably is running in your mind. What is the 2 referring to? So let me show you how to do that too. So if I go here and maybe here I go to configure form design. So this is the form design of the table. Sorry, of that record in form view. Let me just, it's loading, is taking a bit of time. Okay, great. So here we have the state. We have also the state name that we are using, and it has a different values for each individual drop down menu's name. So we have new, in progress, on hold, resolved, close, and cancel. Each one of them have a specific number, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. Those are numbers will be used in the database level. So this is the name and this is the value for that name. So we do not want use the one which is resolved, close, and cancel, because it's going to cancel. I cannot operate anymore on that incident, so I have to create new ones. So I prefer to use either 1, either 2, not 3, because we have to update some information on that. So let's keep it to 1 or 2. So it is not just meant this, let me go back here. It is not just meant to set the value on the state field. You can choose any other field. I can show you one more thing that I have here. When I was trying to do few things, and as you can see here, I was trying to write this code. I chose short description and I wrote it is not working, help, and it updated the whole record with that. So you can actually choose whatever the field you want. Okay, so now for I'm going to choose this one, even though it doesn't make any logical sense. So the code, let me get back to the code. Up. So first we are retrieving the value, we are setting the value to the state column, which has for each record. 2 is referring to in progress, first is new. So that you understand now the numbers, why we have 1, why we have 2, and we can have different numbers. And this one is going to be returned, so as a result, so in progress. And we're gonna make an action after, which is rec update, like rec query, like we are doing rec object update. Just update the information that you had set as value, because there is a difference when you open a let's say I'm gonna open here. There is a difference. If I put in progress, it doesn't change. It changed on the form, but you have to click on the update in order to make that change happen. Okay, so if you don't do that, it's not going to happen. So that's why we have the other line, which is, oh my god, this one. So let me, okay, I'm not going to copy paste, but let me write it to make sure that I'm writing properly. So here I'm going to here, and in the condition we have rec update. So here you can see how we have to do things first and then some things comes after, but the code is written in a certain way. So rec, and here we are going to set value, and it's going to be this one, and we are going to put our state. Let's put this. I'm gonna put 2. Let me check what is the actual value that we have in all our active records. It's all new. So 2 is going to be progress. Close it. Done. We have done the entire code. So if I go back to my explanation, so let me copy, so in case I lose it, let me go back here, open my documentation. No more code to write. This is final code. We have the thing here, entire code is here. I put 1 here, but it's going to be 2. So now let's test if this thing is really taking place, if this is really going to change here to progress. That's my goal. I mean, that's the goal, to learn this code and then see if this thing is working. So first thing, let's test if the code is not returning something. So have a mistake somewhere, and let me check where I made a mistake. Date, rec, set values. Yes, I forgot here this one, because the state has their own brackets, but the rec has also the brackets. That's the mistake. So you have to be very conscious when you write a code, and you can spend huge amount of time on losing your time. Run the script. So it's running now. It's giving me some error because, as you can see, SLA breakdown processor, which I don't get it, because I guess here there is a SLA running, and we are changing the state from new into progress, and this is kind of messing up the SLA. This is kind of like not really giving the proper information to the SLA, so that's not good, I would say. Otherwise, but just let's check if this thing is working or not. So I have new, I put the code as 2, so it should go to it should go to in progress. Okay, let's see if that thing is working. So I'm gonna refresh. In progress. Beautiful, we have it. Let's do the same thing, but I'm gonna reverse. Now I'm gonna put it as new, but it's gonna make me some mistakes, some errors, but it's gonna work. So I'm gonna put it here, So great. So if I put 1, I'm gonna copy and then run the script. Okay, it's taking too much time. It's completed. Let's go back to our here and then refresh to see if this thing changed to new. Great, it's changed to new. Now let's run the same code, but I'm gonna do something to make sure that this condition is actually this is actually happening because of the condition we have set. Let's say I'm going to put inferior duration inferior 7 days, which is not going to be true because I have incidents more than 100 days, so it cannot be inferior to 7 days. So in any way it shouldn't execute the code. Okay, so here we have what we have here. We have new. Our code, I'm gonna put 2. So if this is true, it should change to in progress, but this is not true. It should do nothing. Okay, there are no mistakes, and I'm gonna do boom. It should remain new because the condition is not fulfilled. I'm gonna do the same test again, but I'm going to put 1, which is actually don't make any sense. Let's close it. Let's take a risk. I'm going back just to check in the form design what is the code. It's on hold 6 7. It's not, so I'm gonna put 6, which is like close it. I'm taking a risk. No, I'm not taking a risk. I know pretty much sure this is not going to happen. Run the script. I'm going here. Oh my god, where is it? Instance. Boo boo boo, I'm lost. Incident. I'm gonna refresh. It shouldn't be closed. As you can see, it remains new because it's not executing because the condition here is not returning true, so it will not go that. I better put 2 here so I don't make any mistake. So this is how we can write a script in order to manipulate all sort of information that we want. So we can even put like work on the short description. Let's work on short description just for fun. Oh my god, did I wrote it? I don't know how to write description. That's great. Seriously. Yes, I think that was the point. Description. I didn't know how to write description. As you can see here, a syntactical error which can make you spend too much time on something and then you actually don't do anything. So let's check this one is good. Hope is not going, I'm not going to stay for more than an hour. Description. I got it because I need to put again this thing. Run. Yes, finally. Let's now check if that thing's really taken place in our thing. So I'm gonna do all, look for, you can see close. Perfect. So it is highly important to, when you write your script, this is one of the thing I'm training myself to write consciously, not to spend too much time on it. Sorry for taking too much time. Hope you enjoyed how to write a script in order to query a table, use a while loop, and hope you understand how you write a while loop. Hope you understood also how you use objects and class, and how to use if conditions, how to update the tables, with these things. So if you have something in your mind, something like because as you can see here, there are too many instruction into the while loop, so we don't need actually that. I mean, like, it's a lot of repetition for work for the while for the computer. So each time is setting up, creating an object which stores the time, calculating, and then creating some other object. So it's like repeating. Is there any way to write these codes outside the while loop, and still the while loop can take in consideration those variables and we can work with that? That will be perfect, so which will save huge amount of time, not for us, for the machine to go faster. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and have a good weekend, good week, whatever, wherever you are. Thanks for watching. Bye.